Hi everyone, I'm Thomas Kinkade. I always get asked where my inspiration comes from. Of course, there's a number of answers, but one of the most exciting things to me is to discover a new location that really inspires my heart. A few years ago, I had the chance to visit the region of the Cotswolds in southern England. Of course, it's a very rural area. You have horses and thatched roof cottages, little streams, rolling meadows, a beautiful sense of a slower pace of living. During our stay in the Cotswolds, I began the creation of ideas for what later became my series entitled the Cobblestone Lane Collection. Cobblestone Lane Collection began with the first painting entitled Cobblestone Lane. That took us on a winding journey through the English countryside, a typical Cotswold village. You see the old Celtic cross in the center of the village, a landmark that denotes the crossroads of two passageways or two roadways. The second piece in the collection was Cobblestone Brook, and this was based on a real village that Nanette and I visited. In fact, this was the English village that was featured as the setting for the famous movie Dr. Dolittle that came out in the late 60s. Cobblestone Village was more of a narrative scene. I wanted to include some of the villagers to suggest the slower pace of living in an English country village. Of course, Cobblestone Bridge was the most detailed of all the cobblestone paintings and featured that stone bridge as the centerpiece of the composition. I followed that with Cobblestone Mill, which featured an old stone mill on a waterway with the mill wheel turning as the water cascaded over it. As I continued with the Cobblestone Lane collection, I began exploring different viewpoints, trying to make each painting a little different than the last. Now, that set the stage for a very exciting process for me, a process of discovering a reinterpretation of one of my paintings in the Cobblestone Lane collection. You see, when I painted Cobblestone Bridge, I began to imagine what would that setting look like with a blanket of winter snow. Well, I have the answer. It's called Cobblestone Christmas. Cobblestone Christmas features a lovely English village completely shrouded with the mantle of winter snow. Of course, the Cotswold area does get some snow in the wintertime, and you can just imagine how charming it is as you look at the village itself with the lights lit up, suggesting the festive holiday season. I had fun adding a Christmas tree to the setting, as well as the holiday wreaths that you see on the bridge in the center of the composition. The light that was pouring from the windows of the cottages was accentuated as I brought those golden tones across the blanket of snow. Of course, I had fun reflecting the lights from the windows in the puddles that formed along the walkway. I like the sense of smoke coming up from the chimneys. It is very peaceful. It suggests that the winds are not blowing. This is a quiet and a very serene evening. And I couldn't resist adding some twinkling Christmas lights, suggesting the celebration of the holidays was in full swing inside the village. Of course, the original featured the same village at sunset, and I used a lot of very rich colors. I wanted to suggest evening mist gathering up over the brook that ran alongside the village. That mist survived into the Cobblestone Christmas painting. The lighter tones of the village allowed me to bring new luminosity into the scene. And of course, when you dim the lights, you will see how the village lights really seem to come on. This is an effect we call luminosity. It's a technique I've been studying and working on for about 30 years. My attempt is to make the painting glow from within. To create that effect, I use layer upon layer of color, often using as many as 30 layers of glazing that allows the colors to blend together and create that harmonious glow. Of course, the center of the English village is the church. Now, many of these churches date back centuries. I visited a church in the Cotswolds that was over 1,000 years old, one of the longest continuing parishes in the entire region. That radiant sunset that you see is suggestive of God's love. You know, as a Christian man, I've always felt that paintings can be a reminder that even though our lives might be stressful, we can just relax for a moment and feel at peace. People of all faiths write me letters and say how those paintings have brought them a little comfort in their daily stress of living. All of my paintings are really a way to communicate. We have daydreams when we are children, and we dream of the world the way we see it in our imagination. And really, when I create a painting, my goal is to recapture that innocence, that joy that we probably had in our childhood imaginings. The paintings become messengers. They come into the home and hopefully bring a little inspiration and a little joy. After all, joy and beauty are good things. This is Thomas Kinkade. God bless.